For my 50th birthday, my family teased, "Just wait, you'll be speechless." My wife brushed me off, "Can't you just enjoy the mystery?" That night, I came home to an empty house. No note, no calls, just their luxurious beach photos. My son mocked, "He won't even notice, lol." I didn't call, I simply vanished. They never expected what happened next. I walked into my silent house, keys jingling in the emptiness. The lights were off, no welcoming aroma of dinner, no chorus of "surprise." Nothing but darkness greeting me on my 50th birthday. "Sarah? Kids?" My voice echoed through the rooms. I flipped on lights, moving from our living room to the kitchen. A half-empty coffee mug sat in the sink. The only evidence anyone had been here this morning. My phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. My thumb froze mid-swipe as I stared at the image. My family, my wife of 25 years and our 2 teenagers, posing on a pristine beach, cocktails in hand, resort cabanas visible in the background. The timestamp showed it was posted just 30 minutes ago. My son's caption burned into my vision. "Best vacation ever. Dad won't even notice we're gone, lol." I sank onto our couch, scrolling through more photos. They'd been posting all day, breakfast by the ocean, parasailing, lounging by an infinity pool, while I'd been working overtime, believing their hints about something special, planned for my milestone birthday. 25 years of marriage, and this is how they celebrate my milestone. They have no idea what I'm capable of. I've always been the reliable one. The steady provider who never complained about 60-hour work weeks when the kids needed braces or when Sarah wanted kitchen renovations. I was the dad who coached soccer despite exhaustion, who fixed broken bikes and broken hearts. Our marriage had evolved over the years, from passionate newlyweds to comfortable partners to whatever we were now. Ships passing in the night, maybe. Sarah had grown increasingly distant this past year, always on her phone, smiling at private jokes I wasn't privy to. The kids had changed too. Emma, 17, once my little shadow, now barely acknowledged my existence. Tyler, 15, had transformed from the boy who begged for fishing trips to a stranger who communicated in grunts and eye rolls. I'd been looking forward to turning 50. Not for the milestone itself, but because I thought it might be a turning point, a chance to reconnect with my family. I didn't expect anything extravagant, maybe dinner at my favorite steakhouse, perhaps a watch to replace the one that had served me for a decade. Instead, they'd taken my credit card and flown to a luxury resort without me. If you've ever felt invisible to the people who should see you most clearly, you're not alone. Sometimes the deepest betrayals come from those closest to us. The signs had been there for months, each one a small cut I'd ignored until now. 3 weeks ago, I'd overheard Sarah on the phone in our bedroom. "He'll be at work all day, he always is," she'd said, laughing. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd quickly changed the subject, her smile never reaching her eyes. Last month, I'd suggested a family movie night. Tyler had snickered, exchanging glances with Emma. "We already watched it with Mom last weekend." Emma had said, "While you were at that work thing." The work thing had been a conference I'd attended to secure a promotion. For them. 2 days ago I'd found Sarah checking flight details on her laptop. When I'd approached, she'd quickly switched screens. "Just looking at vacation options for summer," she'd explained. When I'd asked to see, she'd accused me of not trusting her. "You're being paranoid," she'd said, closing her laptop with a snap. "Can't a woman browse without an interrogation?" I'd backed off, doubting myself. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was working too much, seeing problems where none existed. This morning had started with such promise. Sarah had kissed my cheek at breakfast, an unusual display of affection lately. "Happy birthday, honey," she'd said. "Just wait until later, something big is coming." Emma had actually looked up from her phone. "You'll be speechless, Dad." Tyler had added, "Yeah, you won't believe what's happening." All day at work, I'd checked my phone constantly, anticipating instructions or details. A dinner reservation perhaps, or directions to a surprise party. My colleagues had noticed my distraction. "Big plans tonight?" my assistant had asked. "Apparently so," I'd replied, smiling. "My family has something special planned." I'd left work early, heart light with anticipation. The drive home had been filled with possibilities. Maybe they'd invited old friends, perhaps Sarah had arranged a weekend getaway for us. The empty house had been my first clue. The social media posts had been the killing blow. I sat in our living room, scrolling through more photos. They'd been planning this for weeks. My son's post from yesterday showed him packing, captioned "Dad's clueless." My hands trembled as I set down my phone. The initial shock was crystallizing into something colder, harder. My breathing quickened as 25 years of memories collided with this moment of absolute clarity. I moved to our home office with mechanical precision. Within minutes, I found what I needed: $4,700 charged to my credit card 3 weeks ago. Flights and resort booking for 3 people. Not 4, never 4. In our shared email account, confirmation details, itinerary updates, all carefully marked as read. A memory surfaced, Sarah whispering to the kids last week, falling silent when I entered the room. "Just discussing your father's birthday," she'd said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I opened our safe. My passport remained. Theirs were gone. I stared at the beach photos again on my phone. Their smiling faces no longer hurt me, they clarified everything. I began packing a bag, essentials only. Whatever happened next, I wouldn't be here when they returned. I called Mike, my friend of 30 years, the only person I trusted completely. "They did what?" His voice rose in disbelief when I explained. "On your birthday? Without even telling you?" "Apparently, I'm not meant to notice," I said, my voice unnaturally calm. I don't even have words, man. I noticed Sarah's been different lately, but this is another level." "What are you gonna do?" "I'm not sure yet," I replied, "but I won't be here when they get back." "You can stay with me," Mike offered immediately. "Or use my cabin up north. No one would find you there unless you wanted to be found." "The cabin," I decided. "I need time to think." "I'll get it ready," Mike said. "And James, this isn't your fault. No one deserves this kind of disrespect, especially not from family." His validation loosened something in my chest. For months I'd questioned my perceptions, doubted my feelings. Now someone else could see what I saw. "Thanks, Mike. I'll need your help with something else too." While waiting for Mike, I accessed Sarah's email. Her password was still our anniversary date, ironically. What I found was worse than I'd imagined. To her sister. "James is so oblivious. He works constantly and thinks that's enough." To friends, "We're planning a getaway for my birthday next month. Just me and the kids. Conversations with our children that excluded me. Plans made without my knowledge. Jokes at my expense." I closed the laptop, oddly calm. This wasn't a single act of thoughtlessness. It was the culmination of a pattern I'd enabled for years. I glanced at our family portrait on the wall, all smiles and coordinated outfits. I didn't take it down. I wanted them to see it when they returned, to remember what we'd once been. Mike arrived as I was finishing my preparations. "I contacted Leanne," I said, referring to my lawyer. "She's drawing up papers, not filing yet, but preparing options." Mike nodded, helping me load my bags into his truck. "What about work?" "Scheduled email to my boss, taking 2 weeks of accumulated leave, effective immediately." "And the house?" "Security system activated. I've transferred half our joint savings to my personal account." Mike studied my face. "You're taking this very methodically. What's the alternative? A dramatic confrontation, begging them to include me in their lives?" I shook my head. "They made their choice. Now I'm making mine." I locked the door behind me without looking back. The cabin was exactly what I needed. Remote, peaceful, surrounded by pine trees and silence. No cell service unless you walked to a specific spot by the lake. No internet, no distractions. For the first time in decades, I was completely unreachable. 3 days passed in a blur of hiking, reading, and deep thought. On the 4th day, I walked to the cell service spot, curious despite myself. My phone exploded with notifications as signal returned. 47 messages from Sarah, 32 missed calls, voicemails, texts from the kids, emails. The tone evolved dramatically. "Day 1, where are you? We're having an amazing time. Did you see our posts?" Day 2, "James, this isn't funny. Why aren't you answering?" Day 3, "We're getting worried. No one knows where you are." Day 4, "The police say it's too soon for a missing persons report. Please, just let us know you're okay. We're coming home early." I scrolled through my son's social media. No more vacation photos. Instead, a worried post. "Has anyone seen my dad? Please contact us if you have." I studied the beach photos again, their carefree smiles now replaced with worried updates. The images that had wounded me now seemed like artifacts from another life. I turned off my phone without responding and walked back to the cabin. If you've ever had to rebuild your self-respect after years of erosion, you know it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you need space to remember who you are, beyond the roles you play for others. For 2 weeks, I existed solely for myself. I hiked until my muscles ached. I read books I'd been meaning to get to for years. I wrote pages of thoughts and feelings I'd suppressed. I contacted Mike occasionally, ensuring things hadn't escalated to an actual missing persons investigation. He confirmed my family had returned early, frantic and confused. "They've been calling everyone," he reported. "Sarah even called your college roommate. Have you spoken to them?" "Sarah cornered me yesterday. I told her I hadn't heard from you, but that you were a grown man who could take care of himself." "How did she react?" "She cried, said she never meant to hurt you, that the vacation was supposed to be a surprise for after your birthday dinner, but plans changed." I laughed without humor. Convenient explanation after the fact. "What are you going to do?" "I'm coming back tomorrow," I decided. Time to face reality. I arrived home mid-afternoon, pulling into our driveway in my own car, which Mike had delivered to a predetermined location. The house looked different somehow, or perhaps I was the one who had changed. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The sound of running footsteps, and suddenly Sarah was there, eyes red-rimmed, hair disheveled. "James?" She moved to embrace me, but stopped short when she saw my expression. "Where have you been? We've been out of our minds with worry." The kids appeared behind her, looking uncertain. "Have you?" I asked calmly, setting down my bag. "That's interesting." "What's that supposed to mean?" Sarah's relief was quickly turning to indignation. "You disappeared without a word for 2 weeks. Kind of like you disappeared to a beach resort on my birthday without a word?" I kept my voice level. Sarah's face flushed. "That was different. We were going to surprise you when..." "When what, Sarah? When you got back from the vacation you deliberately hid from me? The one Tyler was so excited about because Dad won't even notice we're gone?" Tyler looked at the floor. Emma bit her lip. "It was just a joke," Sarah said weakly. "No, it wasn't." I moved past them to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water. They followed, watching me warily. "So what now?" Sarah's voice cracked. "You just vanish for 2 weeks to punish us?" "Punish you?" I set my glass down. "Is that what you think this was about?" "What else would it be about?" Emma interjected, her voice small. "Self-preservation." I looked at each of them. I needed to figure out if I still had a place in this family, or if I even wanted one. "Of course you have a place," Sarah cried. "You're my husband, their father." "Am I? Because from where I stand, I'm just the ATM who funds your lifestyle while you build your real life without me." "That's not fair," Sarah whispered. "No, it's not. None of this is fair." I leaned against the counter. "I found the vacation charges, Sarah. I saw your emails. This wasn't some last-minute plan that happened to fall on my birthday. You've been planning this for weeks." The color drained from her face. "Dad, we didn't," Tyler started. "You did," I cut him off. "All of you, and I let it happen. That stops now." "What does that mean?" Sarah asked, voice trembling. "It means I've made some decisions. I've spoken to a marriage counselor. Our first appointment is Thursday at 7 p.m. I've also arranged family therapy starting next week." "And if we don't go?" Sarah challenged, a flash of the old defiance returning. "Then I'll go alone, and I'll be calling a divorce attorney on Friday morning." The word hung in the air between us. Divorce. 25 years, reduced to a legal proceeding. "You don't mean that," Sarah whispered. "I've never meant anything more in my life." I met her gaze steadily. "I'm done being the person who gives everything and receives nothing. I'm done working myself to death for people who exclude me from their lives." "We love you, Dad," Emma said, tears streaming down her face. "I believe you think you do," I replied gently. "But love without respect isn't enough anymore." I picked up my bag. "I'll be staying in the guest room for now. I've taken a reduced schedule at work, 40 hours a week, no more. I've separated our finances. We'll discuss a reasonable budget next week." I headed for the stairs, then paused, looking back at their stunned faces. "One more thing. Those beach photos, keep them up. They're a good reminder of where we started from. Maybe someday we'll take new ones, all 4 of us." 6 months later, things are different. Not perfect, but different. Family therapy revealed patterns none of us had fully recognized. Sarah admitted feeling abandoned due to my work schedule, but acknowledged her response had been destructive rather than communicative. The kids confessed they'd followed their mother's lead in dismissing me. We're rebuilding on a foundation of mutual respect. Sarah and I have date nights now, real ones where phones stay home. Tyler and I are restoring a vintage car together. Emma asks for my input on her college applications. I work less, I live more. I enforce boundaries when old patterns emerge. The vacation photos still exist on social media. Sarah offered to delete them, but I declined. They're a milestone of their own now, the moment our family almost fractured beyond repair, and the beginning of something more authentic. Last week, we took a new family photo. It sits beside the old one in our living room, a before and after of sorts. In the new image, we're not wearing coordinated outfits or posed perfectly. We're laughing, slightly disheveled after a hike. But we're together, all four of us, eyes clear and present. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your family is the courage to walk away until they learn to value your presence. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is remembering your worth isn't determined by those who take you for granted. If this story of reclaiming family relationships resonated with you, subscribe to Reddit Family Sagas for more journeys through complicated relationships. Have you ever had to establish firm boundaries with loved ones? Your experience might help someone else find their courage.